Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Glad to see you here. So let's get started. We're going to talk about holiday photo tips today. This is Go for Lunch for the 20th of December 2022. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm your host, Roger Harmon. If you're new here, please type new in the comments so we can get to know you. And as always, our mission is to make your technology work for you. And we're going to do that today with holiday photo tips. So first thing to do is plan ahead. Be a little organized when you know you're going to be taking some pictures for the holiday, either at home or at some event. Make sure your iPhone is fully charged. You don't want to run out of juice when you're taking those memorable photographs. And clean the lens. Keep a soft microfiber cloth in your kit and clean that lens before you start taking pictures, because that lens can pick up all sorts of dirt in your pocket or your purse. Another way to be prepared is to have a tripod with you. So we're going to talk about why tripods are important for better photos during the holiday season, and of course anytime during the whole entire year. And practice what we're talking about today before you need to put it into actual use. You can take pictures around the house and get these techniques down so that they're more second nature, so when you need to use them you will not have to hesitate and figure out, how do I do that? So we recommend that you hold your camera sideways in landscape mode to get the best picture, the more data. It's easier when you want to do editing later to have a landscape picture. You can always crop it for a different aspect ratio if you need to, but start off in landscape mode. You'll be glad you did. So, activating your iPhone camera quickly as you see a photo opportunity pop up in front of you and you need to move into action. So one way to do that without even unlocking your phone is to just swipe from right to left, and that activates your camera. Another way to do that is in the lower right hand corner of your phone. There's a little camera icon. You push and hold that for a second and that will also turn on your camera. Once your phone is unlocked, you can get to your camera by swiping from the top right corner to activate the control center and then touch the camera icon therein. So let's talk about backgrounds. You want to choose your background if possible, and you want to avoid a brightly lit window or anything that's bright in the background, because your camera is going to automatically adjust exposure for that brightness and put the faces of your subjects in the dark, and that's not a good picture. If you can choose a background, choose a plain background like a wall or something that doesn't have a lot of decoration on it. But you can adjust the exposure and the focus if you don't have a choice as far as that background, and let's see how you would do that. So let's go to our iPhone and let's just demonstrate the we're in our lock screen. We just swipe from right to left and we're in our camera. The other way we can do that is the little camera icon. I know it's hard to see here, but it's at the bottom lower right, and you just touch that and hold it. You can't just touch it, you have to hold it for a second. And now we are in the camera. So here's our model. His name is Happy. And so we're going to tilt up here a little bit to get more of that bright background. You can see Happy's face is kind of dark. So the way we adjust that is we touch on his face and a rectangle appears with a little sunburst icon to the right, and we swipe up on that sunburst, and as you can see, Happy's face is getting brighter, and of course the background is getting blown out, overexposed, but at least we can see his face. So again, you want to avoid that bright background whenever you can. So think about the angle. You know, normally we take a picture at eye level, standing, and that can be boring. So think about doing different angles. So you can try a lower angle, especially if you're taking a picture of something that's on the floor, then get down with your camera to the level of that object, and it makes a better picture than looking down on it. You can also experiment with higher angles. So if you're taking a group shot, for example, and you can put your camera up higher and have the people look up, that is a flattering way to take a group picture. And one way to do this is using a selfie stick. So this is using a selfie stick, but not for selfies. So let's look at some selfie sticks here on Amazon. And we're going to look at one here live. But when you're looking at these, as you can see, a lot of these look exactly the same. And I saw this one here with a little more substantial tripod base. And I thought, boy, that looks like a good deal, especially for $13. But when I read the 1-star reviews, people said that the mechanism that holds the camera in place wasn't holding the camera in place. So read those 1-star reviews before you spend your money. But there's lots of different ones here that you can use. So let's take a look at the selfie stick. So we have it here as a holder to hold the camera in the landscape, and then it just folds out to form a tripod at the base. So we can set it on a table and then extend it up there to get it at the angle we want. Of course, if we're going to be taking a high angle picture, then we would just hold it up and look down on our group, or if there's something on the floor, we can reverse it and hold it down to the floor without us getting on the floor. So that's a nice advantage for us. And another thing you want to look for on a selfie stick is a Bluetooth remote. So this has a little bracket for it on the selfie stick. You can also buy these separately. My microphone fell off here. Let's get that back on there. Okay, so you can buy those separately if you already have a tripod, and that's we're going to talk about more about that in a minute. So sometimes you have a stranger taking a picture, and when that happens, you might want to put your iPhone in the live photo mode. Live photos takes a group of pictures, so if somebody blinks or turns their head or something, you have several photos to choose from. So let's demonstrate how to do that. Here we are on our phone, and we'll tilt down a little bit to get rid of that bright background. And in the upper right hand corner, the concentric circles is live photo. Right now it's on, and when you see the diagonal line through it, it's off. So we turn it back on, we push the white button, and then we push the image in the lower left hand corner to see our picture, and we click on edit on the bottom right, and then we click on live photo just to the right of the word cancel, and now we see all the frames that were taken with the live photo. But because Happy didn't move there, you can't really see a lot of differences. And then you choose the one you like the best, and you click on Make Key Photo, and that's your keeper. And you can also revert if you decide you don't like that one, and you can choose another one. So that's the way that live photo works. And for action pictures, you can use burst mode. So let's look at burst mode. So we're going to cancel here. We're going to hit the arrow in the upper left-hand corner to go back to our camera. And to go into burst mode, you have to be pretty quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the white button and then slide it quickly to the left. So you can see the number 5 appeared there. So it took 5 shots. And if we hold it to the left, then it'll just keep taking photos in the burst mode. Another thing you can do is if you're taking a still picture, you're on photo, and you see some action, and you want to quickly go to video mode, you just hold the white button down, and it switches to video. You can see the timer at the top ticking off the seconds. You can also, from this point, slide it to the right, and then you get another white button on the right, and you can actually take a picture while you're, let's move him over here, and then of course you would hit the red square to stop the video. So here we are. And so you can see, since we don't have any movement, it's hard to demonstrate this, but hopefully you get the idea there of how that works. So don't forget to take candid shots. Don't have everything posed. If you see a child playing with a toy or something, or a couple people having a conversation, take a picture of that. And get as close as you can without interrupting what's happening. And of course, to do that, use your telephoto lens. So many of the events during the holiday season may be occurring after dark. So since the iPhone 11, there is a night mode that you can invoke. And on the iPhone 11 phone, it only works on the 1x wide lens, but on the newer phones, it works on all the lenses. And of course, what you want to do is steady the iPhone to avoid blur. And so one way to do that is to hold it with both hands and then bring your elbows in. So you hold it with both hands, bring your elbows in, and you can even take a breath and hold it while you hit the shutter. And as we're going to talk about, your thumb is right on the volume buttons down here, and you can activate the shutter right there. And of course, the ideal way to do that is with a tripod. And when you do that, you want to keep the longest exposure. So the way you invoke dark mode is by hitting the little icon here with has a crescent and the horizontal lines, and then you adjust the exposure by moving this bold line in the center up to the top. And of course, having a tripod is real important when you have a timed exposure like this, and that allows more light to come in and fill in during the night when there's not a lot of available light. So if you are the designated photographer in your group, you might want to invest in a iPhone or iPad adapter case, also known as a cage. Especially iPads are kind of awkward, and you can get a case for your iPad or your iPhone that looks like this. This is the iOgrapher that I use, and I'll talk about a couple other brands. But the you can see the lens is exposed here. We've got two handles so you can get a nice steady grip. We have cold shoes to slide in accessories like a light, or if you're doing video, a microphone. Then at the bottom we have the 1/4 tripod thread, as well as 1/4 on each handle that you can attach to a tripod, or you can get adapters to attach even more accessories if you wish. Now this is a universal case, so it's spring loaded here, and so it will fit any iPhone, even some that are in a case if the case is not real bulky. So you don't have to change cases when you change phones. So this is the iOgrapher. And the other brands to look at would be a Small Rig and Beast Grip. So something to consider if you're taking a lot of pictures. So composition is really important, and they have this thing in photography called the rule of thirds. And let's show you how to turn on the grid. So we're going to get out of here and go to our settings and go to our camera in settings. You can see here it is in the center, and then in the second section here it says composition and grid, and I already have it turned on. So that's how you turn on the grid to use the rule of thirds. So let's show you how that works. So we're going to go back to the camera. So if you're taking a picture, let's say you're taking a profile, they're looking to the left, you can use that grid line to put them on the left so they have area to look out into. And of course, if they're looking the other way, then you would put them on the right grid, and then you use the horizontal lines to line up with the horizontal lines in your picture, whether it be a wall or anything inside, or in landscape. Make sure that you are lined up with the horizon so your picture is not askew. Can't have askew pictures. So we showed you how to turn on the grid and line up the horizon. Of course, you always want to fill the frame and use the telephoto lens to do that. Did you know that there may be 5 ways or more to take a picture, to release your shutter? Of course, you know the white circle on the iPhone screen, which is what you normally use. How I showed you how to use the volume up and down button. You can also connect a headphone that has a volume control on it and use that volume control in the cable of the headphone to activate your iPhone. You can also use the built-in timer, which comes in 3-second and 10-second increments, to take a picture without touching the phone, which of course is important in low light instances. And why would you want to do that? Because you might want to be in the picture. You get all these pictures and everybody's saying, well, where were you? Oh, I was taking the picture. So you can be in the picture by using some of these techniques, including that Bluetooth remote we talked about with the selfie stick. And if you have an Apple Watch, there's an app for that. On the Apple Watch, not only can you activate the shutter on the iPhone camera, you can actually see what the camera is seeing. So you can line up your shot and make sure when you get into the group that you're taking a picture of, that everybody else is in the frame by looking at your watch. So that's it. If you have not already, type in any questions or comments, and we'll talk about that in a second. please share the Gopher Gazette with anybody you know that uses Apple devices. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, ring that bell. Last week we had a little confusion because the link didn't get out there properly. Had you tapped on the bell when you subscribed, you would have gotten an email with the correct link. So that's why that bell is important. So let's see what you have to say here. So welcome Judy and Diana. And Diana says, a lesson in how to avoid statistical photography. Okay, all the info helps, so I'm glad that was helpful. Well, thank you, Bob. Glad you liked those suggestions. I'm sure that Bob, being a professional photographer, probably knows all those tricks. But sometimes it's good to be reminded. I was reminded of some things that I'd forgotten about when I did the research for this presentation. So I'd like to wish all of you a safe and enjoyable holiday season. And you're welcome, Kurt. Glad that you're here with us. So if you have any questions afterwards, my email and my phone number will be coming up next. So see you next time.